watched the new F1 movie last night with the girl I'm seeing. And I don't know if y'all are into F1 or whatnot, but I love cars. I've been around cars my whole life. Throw my ball with my dog. But yeah. Oh, that was terrible. Anyway, love the new F1 movie, Brad Pitt and a couple of the other actors. I'm not really a big movie guy that knows all the actors and stuff like that, but really solid movie. And it got me thinking because there's one key thing in this particular movie that they said, and it was put down your head and drive. And I think that's where so many people mess up who are wanting to be successful in life, where they start focusing on the things that comes with success and they don't focus on the thing that actually creates success. Example, so many people are focused on the Lamborghini, but they're not focused on what it takes to get a Lamborghini. And this is a huge mistake that I was making back in my early days when I was trying to actually go out there and become quote unquote successful and quote unquote make more money and, you know, all of those things to break free from the rat race. And it's funny because all of the things that these big gurus told me online of like, hey, you have to do a 3-hour morning routine. You have to write down 50 different goals every morning. You have to do a cold plunge. All of these things that was gonna make me quote unquote successful actually never did anything in the sense of making me successful or helping me make more money. All it did was create more distraction. And it took me a long time to figure that out before I started to see success or start to see results. And I would literally sit down, I think every Sunday I like to sit down and just kind of like review my thoughts and spend time with like a pen and paper, just thinking and stuff. And I would just like write down these new crazy morning routines and all of these crazy things that I need to think bigger. I need to think about more cars. I need to think about buying a penthouse now, also Miami, when like I was still making nothing. Like I think I was making maybe $500 a month from Facebook ads with my one client at the time that I had. And I was never thinking about the actual thing that creates success. I wasn't putting my head down and just driving. I was thinking about all of these other things that quote unquote is what you need to do to be successful, but they were all wrong. None of it actually worked in the sense of helping me make more money. But once I actually put my head down and just started driving and ignoring everything, I stopped focusing on making money. I stopped focusing on Lamborghinis. I stopped focusing on views on YouTube. And I just started focusing on driving is when I actually started to, get the big Benjamins right here. And the way I did that was by understanding mastery first. Mastery is where you pick a particular skill set and focus and obsess on that skill set until you achieve mastery with it. And when you focus on that skill set and getting better with that skill set, it creates all of these byproducts, which byproducts is a result of your action. If I go ahead, walk down the street and punch someone, the byproduct of that is I'm probably gonna get arrested and go to jail. So the same thing here with success. You have to understand that the action itself is what you wanna focus on mastery with. When you focus on mastery with that particular action, byproducts of you being really good at that action is the success. Those byproducts is the Lamborghini, it's the penthouse in Miami, it's being able to travel multiple times a year. So like for me, in my particular example right here, I was right here at 0 and I wanted to get to 100. And for me to get there, let's actually zoom in on this real quick. For me to get there, I need to achieve mastery, okay? But with what? What was the thing I was going to master to get to here, which would create all of these byproducts, which is money, cars, girls, houses, like all of that, all right? How do I get there? What do I need to master to get there? Now, for me, it was Facebook ads. That is what I chose to master right there. And I know if I got really good at that, it would help me get here, okay? Why? Because it helps people make money, right? I know people are willing to spend more money on things that make them money, whereas things that doesn't get an ROI it's less of a reason why I would spend money in that. For example, I have mentors that I spend thousands of dollars a month on. Why? Because when I pay them a couple $1,000s for one call, guess what happens? I make more money as a result of that thing. So if I give them more money, I make more money. Now, from that, let's just say, for example, like this mic right here. Like, don't get me wrong, it makes me a lot of money because you could tie it to like my YouTube channel and stuff like that. But the amount of money it makes from this mic to compared to just using my iPhone, it's significantly just very small difference. And also too, majority of the market doesn't know how to make money with this. So realistically, $100, $200 at most is all you can charge with this, even though you'll spend hundreds of hours using that mic. Whereas if you hop on a call with me and I help you fix a problem in your business with your Facebook advertising, then what's gonna happen? You're going to likely spend a lot more money on me because, hey, you pay Nick $1,000. Yes, that's $1,000. That's a lot of money for one call. But then in that one call, I help you tweak something with your creatives, and all of a sudden you go from 30K a month to 100K, $200,000 a month in revenue. The ROI on there is fucking amazing. So people are willing to pay you more when you make them more money. So for me, that's why I chose mastering Facebook ads. And the same rules that I'm gonna show you guys here in a second for mastery, of how to achieve mastery and stuff, those things can be applied to anything. I apply that to dating, I apply that to boxing and weightlifting, and even my relationship with God and stuff like that. I apply all of that to other areas of my life as well. So it's not just Facebook ads that I've applied that in my life. And also I wanna be very clear here. When you are doing mastery, quote unquote, mastery is putting your head down and driving. That was a big part of the movie last night where, they focused on that part right there where it's just like putting your head down and driving. They were spending time reviewing the footage from like other races and stuff. They were spent time in the simulator, just countless, like 100 times going over and over and over and over the same little corner, just trying to cut off a fraction of a second around that corner right there. And those are the things that professionals and like high-end people that's been practicing for years at a specific task to achieve mastery, that's the types of reps they become obsessive with to get to that next level. Yes, it's very minor, but those fractions of a second literally is the difference of millions of dollars in terms of how much they get paid on a year-to-year basis. And that's the same thing when you become obsessive over something, in the sense of, hey, I want to become master with Facebook ads. In the beginning, like if you've never ran Facebook ads before, I could sit down and show you, okay, here's how to set up a campaign. It's like, oh my God, you showed me how to set up a campaign. This is amazing. Like that was a huge leap from something very, very, very small that doesn't take hundreds of reps to really showcase. Like pretty much anyone can watch 2 or 3 videos on how to set up a Facebook ads campaign, and then boom, like they're a wizard in that sense. So same thing goes here for mastery. It's where as you put in more reps and as you do more of something, you have to do very, very small little tweaks to be able to get to that next level. So for example, if I'm sitting down on a call, people pay me thousands of dollars to hop on one call with them because they're accessing not just, here's how to set up a campaign real quick, Nick. It's they're accessing 10 years of running Facebook ads. My trained eyes have seen thousands of ads, and also too, have seen hundreds of ads that's been profitable and it's worked, and they're accessing all of that information right there. Just to shave off one little 2, 3 little words on an ad that all of a sudden doubles in revenue because now we're talking to the customer slightly better in terms of human psychology. So now that you know, hey, you basically just need to blind everything out and you need to focus on mastery of one skill set that's going to create byproducts of the success you want. And if you lock in and focus on that, it creates the outcomes you want. So now it's how do you reverse engineer that? And what are the daily habits that you need to do to be able to achieve that? That's also the other thing you have to look at is when you reverse engineer something, it needs to be tangible goals. So like if I want to lose, let's just say 30 pounds over the course of 90 days, I can't just say like, all right, I have a goal of losing 30 pounds in 90 days. I have a goal of of losing 30 pounds in 90 days. And I just keep saying this to myself, like that doesn't do anything. There's nothing actionable about that. And that's what I hate so fucking much about 95% of the here's my $1 million morning routine. I write on a notepad right when I wake up, I want a Lamborghini. I want to live in a penthouse in Miami. And like, don't get me wrong, it's cool to think about those things. There's nothing wrong at all. There's a lot of things like I specifically want that are materialistic, and like I want other houses. I want an Aventador. I want like these other things in my life. It's not the fact that you're setting a goal to achieve that thing in terms of like a car, or setting a goal to buy a house. It's you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. Is I want to set goals that if I achieve this thing, these things just happen. I want to set a goal that if I help, let's just say, for example, 50 entrepreneurs hit 7 figures a month in revenue, that, okay, if I help 50 people make $1 million a month, I'm probably gonna be making like $2-3 million a year, and I can easily afford a Lamborghini. I can easily afford the house I want. So then it's breaking down as, what does your day-to-day look like? What do you specifically have to do every single day? That's setting the habits. Next. Now, for me specifically, I've like studied, I'm obsessive over like professionals in terms of like professional athletes, specifically like football players. And I'm from America, so like it's like the actual football you throw and stuff, not like you kick and shit like that. But I like to obsess over that. I like to obsess over like F1 professional drivers and stuff. And I found 3 similarities between all of them that if done every day, it becomes impossible not to master a skill set. All right. So let's just go right down number 1. Number 1 is going to be learn. Okay. Every day you're setting some time to learn, not about anything. I can't stand this shit where it's like, hey, I want to learn more about Facebook ads, and every day they set a goal to learn. And then like one of their learn blocks they use, which is like how to read a book on like how to pick up girls. It's like, the fuck are you doing? Like, if you're going to set a goal every day to read and learn, you want to specifically set that goal of learning around the thing you want to learn, or around the skill set that you want to improve. So like for me, when I work with my boxing coach, I'm putting intention about learning with someone who's done it already, been there where I want to go, and they're helping me cut down my time by showing me the things I need to learn. So first thing is just learning specifically around the skill set you want to achieve and you want to do. Now, the next one is going to be review, right? So we see this all the time with like football coaches where like after a game, they will literally go pick up their iPad. The iPad already has all the game footage from, you know, their specific gameplay, everything, to where they can sit down, watch the whole game, review it, and they can ask themselves 3 specific questions. What went right? What went wrong? What can I improve? If you take every chance you get to actually apply your skill sets and ask yourself those 3 questions every time in your post-game review, if it's running Facebook ads, that's literally every Facebook ad you launch. Spend time breaking down that ad after you launch it. What went right? What went wrong? What can I improve on? Regardless if it was profitable, regardless if it sucked and tanked, just like specifically asking yourself, hey, what went right? What went wrong? What can I improve? If you do that, you'll consistently get better through actions. Now, the last one right here is just simply practice, right? You get better when you put the reps in. Now, the reason why I have to say it like that is because there's so many people that just sit at home and they like to sit there and overthink everything, and they never take action. If you never take action, how do you know what you need to improve? Because if you don't take action, failure can't occur, mistakes can't occur, and you just stay in the same position. But when you take action and you allow those mistakes to happen, when you allow imperfect action to take place, you get feedback. Feedback is the mistakes. I don't look at mistakes as anything wrong. That's just simply data back to me of what I can optimize on. We as humans have this thing where we have to attach failure and we have to attach ego to the numbers. I remove all that, and it's literally just numbers that I'm getting back. Then I can just ask myself, okay, I put the reps in, here's the numbers. Now let's just go simply do our review session. If we learn how to review, then we can understand what we need to go learn and fix on. So when we practice, it allows us to review. And if we review, it allows us what we need to learn, which then allows us to go practice what we learn. And it's just this never-ending cycle between them that consistently allow you to grow and become a better person and make more because you are mastering. And when I actually look at the day-to-day skill set in the sense of what are my habits that I need to do, regardless of what you are doing in life, whether you're trying to become a better Facebook ads marketer, when you try to, learn how to do boxing, whether you're trying to learn how to start running, or, you're trying to learn how to get a girlfriend, for example, all three of these things will allow you to master any skill set you want. And depending on the skill set you master will create that byproduct of the cars, the houses, the girls, the money, all of those good things. So you focus on mastery of a skill set that creates the byproduct of what you want. This is where you now have to start understanding what skill set do you want to master. So the biggest thing for me when I first think about what skill set I want to master is outcomes. If I think in outcomes first, it'll allow me to understand, okay, hey, what do I want to achieve in life? For me, I love cars. That's why I have this Urus right here, and I got the C8 right here. Not to be flashy or anything like that, but this is things I wanted in my life. So I knew I had to understand that, okay, hey, whatever skill set I master, I need to be able to scale that and monetize that to be able to afford enough, make enough money to be able to afford things like this. So when you think about your outcomes first, this is where it's like the life you want to live, or, maybe the outcome is being shredded with six-pack abs. Maybe it's, being a professional boxer. Whatever that outcome is, that's the first thing you have to understand. Once you understand that outcome, then that's where you start doing just basically the research right there. And especially too, if it's making money and stuff like that, that's also where it's going down and running the numbers basically. So if your outcome, for example, is to afford a Lamborghini, for example, like this little Urus that I'm in right now, this thing's gonna run you about $3,000-$4,000 a month in a monthly payment and everything. You need to be able to make enough money to where you can comfortably afford a note like that. So then it's okay, cool. Well, I know if I need to make enough money to be able to afford that thing, what type of jobs or what type of business or what type of skill set can I do to be able to get there and be able to afford that. So you may need to be able to comfortably make about 50, 60K a month to be able to afford that comfortably. Now, from there, you're just starting to understand, okay, cool, what type of things can allow me to make 50, 60K a month in income. Once you understand that, then that's when you can reverse engineer of how do you get that in terms of the actions. So, all right, hey, I need to make 50, 60K a month. All right, well, what type of jobs pay that? Well, there's probably not many jobs you can pay that unless you go to maybe a doctor, for example, that can go and do that. So, okay, hey, maybe a doctor doesn't afford a Lamborghini or the type of money I need for a Lamborghini. What type of entrepreneur businesses I could start that allow me to make 50, 60K a month? And also too, the other thing is how much time you want to work. So maybe I want to only work 5-6 hours a day. What type of businesses can I start and do that 5-6 hours a day I can make 50, 60K a month versus having to work 20 hours a day in the heat, for construction, for example. Where I got my start was actually landscaping. I used to get paid $10 an hour as a landscaper before I found Facebook ads and started doing Facebook ads online for people. So another thing you also have to look at is how fast you want to achieve it, right? So maybe you only want to work a couple hours a day on this business. So cool, I can go do real estate, for example. But real estate can take a substantially long period of time between getting your first down payment, buying a couple houses and stuff. It may take you 10, 15, 20 years before you're making 50, 60K a month on autopilot, just depending on who you are and stuff. So speed of which you can have success in that business model and make the income that you want to make is also going to basically kind of control what types of business models I'm gonna do as well. That's why I chose Facebook ads. I knew that I could scale brands pretty fast if I have the right skill sets with Facebook ads and stuff. And I've seen hundreds of people do it, not just me, like hundreds of people have scaled brands really fast with Facebook ads and start making the type of money that I wanna make. So now that you know the thing that you wanna do, and oh, well, Nick, how do I find the thing I wanna do? Well, you kind of know your search criteria. Now, this is where you just honestly leverage things like YouTube, for example. YouTube's a great place just to search and consume a ton of free content from a lot of different experts and stuff like that. Outside of YouTube, you also have just like networking groups and stuff. But to be fair, for me, it was just always YouTube. That's just where I got the most valuable information from in terms of like understanding different ways to make money online and like all of those good things right there. So I would just technically just leverage YouTube right there. Once you understand, okay, hey, this is the thing I want to do now. This is the thing that can make me, I don't know, 100K a month, for example, 50K a month, 10K a month, whatever your objective is. Then, okay, cool. What are my daily habits? Practice, review, learn. Now, what do I need to specifically learn to start making 100K a month, for example, with Facebook ads? What do I need to start doing on a day-to-day basis to be able to practice Facebook ads? That might be like writing headlines, that might be creating creatives, setting up a campaign and stuff like that. Then just going review the things I did and understanding what went right, what went wrong, and what can I improve from there. And just start doing that on a day-to-day basis and you'll start to advance. You don't necessarily need to spend 8 hours, 10 hours a day doing this, but just starting off in the beginning, spending 2-3 hours a day, executing on these things, and then being able to start to see the compound interest basically start to take an effect, which compound interest, all that is just simply when you do a thing every single day, you don't immediately see the result, but over a 30-day window, you see a significant difference. So like I'm a big fan of increasing Facebook ad spend by 20% a day. So if I go from $100 a day on day one, 20% a day like sucks for the first couple of days. Seems very slow, very like, can we please go faster? But if you look at it on a 30-day window, it's like 20-something thousand dollars a day in ad spend by just simply increasing it by 20% a day. Now, the last thing is your rate of which you learn and how to cut down your time to success by leveraging your learning resources. What a lot of people don't understand is that books are amazing to learn. Like you get a ton of amazing information from a book. The reason why people are not successful with just reading books is because they don't apply things. You only retain 10 to 30% of things when you read a book one time. So if you want to like fully retain all the information, you have to read it 5 to 10 times and then actually be cognizant about mastering everything taught in that book over and over and over. And that's how you can literally go buy a $20, $30 book and it'd be life-changing when you actually apply things. But the reality is that people don't do that. They buy a $20, $30 book, they read it once, they feel good, they cross the book off their yearly book thing, but then they actually don't take any action at all. They just literally sit there and, all right, what's the next book I can read? And they don't apply anything from the book they just read. One of the books that's actually made a huge impact in my life is Breakthrough Advertising. The only book I recommend for copywriting and marketing if you want to become a better Facebook advertiser and stuff. And I read that book, kid you not, about 15 times over the course of 2 years. And I focused mastering every single lesson, writing dozens of ads for everything I've learned in that book. Then I went ahead and started using that to improve my Facebook ads. Because again, I set out for mastery on Facebook ads. And then when I set out for mastering some of the skill sets that are required to be successful with Facebook ads, guess what? I made more money. I made my clients more money. I helped thousands of people on my YouTube channel make more money by breaking down all those lessons, all my videos and everything. Then I went ahead and I created a coaching group where I actually coach and actively mentor people on a month-to-month basis on how to apply those same lessons, helping them cut down the time it takes for them to do it versus having to read a book, a couple times over the course of 2 years. Now, I'm not saying you necessarily have to read a book or anything like that. I'm just simply saying that like a lot of people overly think books suck and that they have to pay for a mentor right away, and that's completely false. What I like to look at it is that there's different mechanisms to learn and get better at a skill set. Like when I was first learning boxing, I was just simply watching free content on YouTube and then go and apply it myself at the gym, at the, the commercial gym. It wasn't even anything like a proper boxing gym. But then at that time, I was making a lot of mistakes I just didn't know, but I was still learning a lot by just watching content online. Then I went to a boxing gym and started working with a boxing coach in boxing classes and stuff. And that increased the rate of which I was learning. Then I wanted to even go faster. And faster was working one-on-one with a coach. Once I started working one-on-one with a coach for boxing, I was cutting down my time to learn the skill set significantly. So you have to look at it like this. Your investment into learning the skill set has different levels of speed of which you actually go ahead and be successful at that thing. So like, for example, I could just read books on advertising and it'll take me, let's just say 5 years to be successful at Facebook ads. Or I could go hire someone right out the gate that's already successful, that's already in the position I want to be in. That's the key thing. That's where a lot of people fuck up at with hiring mentors. They hire mentors that never did the thing and it's not successful because of the thing. They just, oh, hey, they talk about making 10K a month, but they don't actually make 10K a month. So you hire a mentor that's already been there and done that, and that will show you what you need to do to be successful with that thing. And that cuts down your time significantly in terms of learning. So there's books, there's courses, there's group mentorships, and there's private mentorships or like a one-on-one mentorship. Each level, you're gonna be paying different levels to which, for the cost of it, right? Like you can go buy a $20 book versus me going buy an hour of a time with someone who does 7 figures a year. Like that's gonna cost like $1,000 at least for that right there. So you have to think about it. Yes, they have different rates for each one, but each one has a different speed of which you'll learn, right? Like I don't wanna go read a book for, let's just say 8 to 10 hours straight to learn this one specific problem I may have in my business. Whereas I just hop on a call, pay someone $1,000, boom, I hop on a call with that person, and then I learn exactly what I need to do in 10 minutes. So I cut down my time significantly of what it takes for me to achieve that thing, but my investment also goes up. So you either have a lot of time, which just means hey, you don't have a lot of money, but you have a lot of time, then you just leverage a fuckload of free content on YouTube and books and stuff. Or you have a lot of money, but little time, then you pay mentors and stuff like that. So for me personally, I mentor over 70 something people in my marketing group where I specifically show people how to become a better marketer to scale their Facebook ads faster, because I'm showing them with 10 years of experience of scaling brands and stuff. Whereas maybe they don't have the money, can't afford that. That's why I have my free content on YouTube, which is hey, this is amazing, this is super valuable, and I give it away all free like that because the people I get in my mentorship and the people that come into my agency and stuff, these specific people, they wanted me, my personal opinion, my personal one-on-one with them. So that's why they pay me that. So that's why I'm not afraid to give it all away for free. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's how to be successful at anything. I think the only other things I didn't touch on was being intentional, discipline, and patience. So discipline is being able to do a thing for a severely long time, whether you want to do that thing or not, and just do it repeatedly for a very long time with no results. That's discipline. You want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days, you're willing to track your macros, hit the gym every day, and do cardio every day for 90 days. The first 40 days, you probably won't see any results, very, very little results. And you're not gonna be I don't wanna do this. So being able to do something for a long time without seeing results, that's where discipline comes from me. Now, the next one is patience. This also kind of goes back to the discipline side, where it's just being patient and being okay that everyone has a different speed of which they achieve success. For me, it took 10 years. It took 10 years from the day I decided to become an entrepreneur to the day that, oh shit, I became a millionaire. It took 10 years of actively running businesses, trying dozens of businesses, to eventually finding my key, my secret, and then being able to focus all in on that business. What I'm doing right now, I've been all in on for the last, I ran my first Facebook ad in 2016. So I've been all in on that for 9 years. The first year was figuring the fuck out of what I wanted to focus on. Then I spent 9 years focusing on that thing, doing exactly what I showed y'all in this video today. Now, the next thing is intentional and being intentional with your actions. So intentional is where It's almost just being conscious about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and is this the right things to do? So, if I'm being intentional with my time, I'm not gonna sit down and scroll on Instagram Reels for an hour. Like, I'm gonna try to learn something. I'm going to try to, work on a new ad or something like that. When I'm working on that new ad, I'm gonna be intentional about doing the right things within that ad to create a good ad. I'm not just gonna throw up anything random. And that's what a lot of people make a mistake at with Facebook ads, is that they just throw up random shit that they think of, and they're not intentional with the research, understanding their customer, and then taking action from there. So you also need to apply those 3, what I call personality traits to it. And if you take everything in this video, plus those custom personality traits, I guarantee you will be successful at anything in life, whether it's health, wealth, or love, and whatever outcome you want, and whatever skill set you want to master. And those have been the biggest things that's helped me along my journey. I hope it helps you. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That being said, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.